jumped 14%, and bacon went up almost 19%. 71-year-old Carmen Crespo says it's tough to shop on her current budget. Have you ever seen the prices like this before?
No, never, never.
Prices for food and just about everything we buy are only expected to go higher.
I think that we are looking at a period now where we can pretty clearly see that 8 and maybe even 9% inflation is on the horizon.
That's because the cost of gas is making products more expensive to ship. And stores, including this food co-op, have to charge more.
Because we buy it for a higher price, the reality is that the customer just has to pay that much more for the product.
Next week, the Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates in an attempt to ease soaring prices. But experts say inflation likely won't return to more normal levels until the end of the year. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, analysts say fuel prices will continue to fluctuate depending on what happens with the war in Ukraine and restrictions on Russian oil. So the average cost of diesel fuel across the country is up to more than $5 per gallon. That's according to figures from AAA. The average price of diesel here in Mississippi, about $4.88 per gallon. In Alabama, it's just over $5. Vernon Milling Company in Lamar County tells us roughly 39% of their operating costs go to fuel, and the current gas prices are having a dramatic effect on the company. As those fuel prices continue to rise, the costs are then passed on to the customers through a surcharge. Dallas Bozeman is head of safety and training for Vernon Milling. He says experienced drivers do help them reduce their operating costs.
Adjusting speed limits, maybe going 5 miles an hour on average, less than what they normally do. The amount of time that their trucks are idling without actually moving product from one point to another. We also look at some of the smaller things like tire pressure, and maintaining proper tire pressure improves fuel mileage. Using cruise control with your trucks.
Each VMC truck holds a total of 200 gallons of gas in its 2 tanks. At the current price of diesel fuel, it costs just over $1,000 to fill them both up.
I didn't like my $80 fill up the other day. $1,000? Are you kidding me? Not fun. But this weather is fun. A beautiful day all across our region. We'll start out here in Vernon, Alabama, one of the warm spots on the map. Beautiful sky there across the region. Blue skies for us. 68 degrees for us here in Vernon, 65 for us here in Columbus, 63 up in Oxford. Some big changes come later on by Friday night, though. For tonight, we'll see lows dipping down in the upper 30s, that is. Then we'll have that latest forecast and potentially snow coming up here in just a few minutes.
Starkville police officers and paramedics. Well, first let's get to this. We're learning more about an early morning accident in Lowndes County involving 2 vehicles. This crash happened on Highway 45 alternate just before 7 a.m. State troopers say an 18-wheeler driven by Yancey Kirk of Poplarville was northbound on the highway. The Highway Patrol says it appears the big rig rolled with the rear of a Dodge minivan and then overturned. Albert and Sharon Miller of Hardingsburg, Indiana, were in that van. Kirk and Albert Miller were both taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Highway Patrol continues to investigate the crash. Now